Hey guys, welcome to yet another Banter Blitz Saturday edition. So, just as usual, let's try to play, learn, and discuss the things. Sorry for having this bad schedule recently. I hope you're okay with the time we start, more or less. It's always changing, but unfortunately, I cannot do much about it. So let's have a look. Just as usual, I'm going to start with several games against guys I've never ever played before. So let me just quickly check if we have these challengers. We should. Yeah, here is the one guy from Canada, so let's accept that challenge to start with. And I'm playing with black pieces. So last time I played all games with white pieces, I guess. That was pretty weird, to be honest. So this time, the story may repeat itself, and I will play all the games with black, and it will be just a disaster. I hate playing all games with black. Alright. Bishop to c4. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I can just take on e4 here. So let's try that. And then d5. Should be okay for black, I guess. Yes, I do remember that stuff. So knight takes c5, and now the question where to go, to d5 with the queen or to g5. I think g5 is the main move. Queen g5, knight c6, queen takes g2, something like that. Let's check it. I don't remember the theory here, but I guess that's what we should play here. So knight takes c6, queen g2. If knight jumps somewhere, I have c6 move. Then the rook is hanging, something like that. I have no idea. Position is pretty complicated there. Yeah, knight takes c6. By the way, I can take the bishop on b5 and just avoid all the complications here, I suppose. So in that case, the knight is hanging, right? I'm not blundering something stupid, right? So queen takes b5, the knight is under attack, now has to go to d4, and then can play queen d5, let's say. Should be just a very pleasant position, more or less. Taking on g2 is probably also possible, but let's just take the bishop. So I don't quite understand what white achieved here, because what's happening now, I have pair of bishops, I have more space, obviously. This knight on d4 is not so well supported. I can even attack it again if I want. So I get some tempi. I already have some sort of initiative. So strange, right? Knight goes to e2. Here I wanted just to put my bishop on. It's possible to put it on d7. I think d7 is even better than g4. And I can explain why. If I play bishop g4, there is some sort of queen a4 check, then I have to come back to d7. Maybe it will actually give me a tempo, but queen can occupy some sort of active position after that. Bishop d7 immediately looks good because of it, because I simply prevent queen a4, and the idea is also pretty simple. I want to put my bishop on b5 at some point and just control d3, which is so weakened now. Now I can basically play h5 and h4, right? But then rook e1 attacking e4 and preparing knight to f1. Yeah, so let's just castle first. Yeah, I love my position. I love my position now. So pair of bishops, some perspective. So the attack on the king side. So it's just a dream for the guy who plays with black pieces, I suppose. So d3. Bishop b5 comes to mind. Another idea is just to play f5. One more is just to play h5, actually. And then h4, and so on. So I like this one. So just h5, h4, and then we'll see what to do. Pretty natural, right? I have this tandem on b8, h2 diagonal, and want to capture h2. So the knight is on the way, so I want to just get rid of it. All right, this way. I'm not sure it helps because I have this move. And then h4 right after it. Oh, okay. Taking with the rook is actually okay for white, I guess. But then bishop g4 looks pretty nasty, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, why not? Bishop g4. Yeah, feels bad actually. I didn't notice this bishop g4 immediately. Bishop f4 shouldn't be that good. Queen takes f4 is possible. If I want to, yeah, let's take it. Rook f4, bishop d1, and then rook is still hanging, so at very least I expect to be a minor piece up. So rook f7, say bishop takes g3 just to simplify this stuff. And then rook takes d3, extra bishop. Or, okay, in this case we just come back with a bishop and extra bishop anyway. That should be just lost for white now. So let's put the bishop on f6 to control e7 and prevent rook to e7. A d3 is hanging. We can also just exchange the rook easily next move. Do we need that though? I'm not sure. Let's say, what if we just take the pawn first? I don't see a threat, I mean, after rook e6 move. Everything is under control, so c6 is controlled. No checks, nothing. Yeah, it's hard to answer. There are so many different factors that may affect your shape. Maybe not even the shape. I mean, like something happened in the first day, let's say, and then this affects the whole tournament because for some reason you cannot pull it together. This can be also something that you cannot predict, and you cannot actually fix that. Okay, so let's just make this move. I mean, I like the idea of exchanging opponents have active pieces, heavy pieces, yeah, in this particular case. All right, so everything is pretty clear. I mean, after queen g5, there should be something else. I mean, like, maybe it's not that position. Maybe I confused it with some other line with, you know, the knight already on c3 or something. Yeah, there is another line, pretty tricky. If you play not bishop to c4, but you play a strange move a3, and then after d5, bishop goes there. I guess that's the line, and then something like, you know, knight e4, knight e4, d4, knight e5. Pretty similar position, but it's a bit different. Or maybe d takes c4, knight e5. I don't remember all this stuff. I mean, all these lines are pretty tricky. But after queen g5 and knight takes c6, of course I can take on g2 and go for that, you know, tricky position. Probably it's also quite good for black because, you know, rook is hanging, right? And even if you just do something like this. Okay, I just play c6. So your knight is hanging, your bishop is hanging, and the rook is hanging. So I definitely regain the material here. And you have pretty bad pawn structure there. Have no idea. But simple queen b5 looks also quite good for me. Because after knight d4, they only move, and queen e5. I mean, I have perfect position. So more space, pair of bishops already, and I gain tempi. All right. So, which is very important in the opening stage. So I was satisfied with the result of the opening already here. I thought it would be great for me to play something like this. Yeah, and my plan, as you have seen, was pretty simple. Just develop the pieces and start the attack, because bishops are perfect in this not so close position. All right, anyway, thank you for the game. The next one, I think, should be Tom. But for some reason, I no longer have his challenge. That's pretty strange. So probably he switched off his browser or something. have no idea. So let's have a look at other challengers right now. I mean, there are others I've never played before. Yeah, I can see one from Argentina. So, but 3 minutes, okay. Nevertheless, let's accept that one. And white pieces. Okay, so probably today we're gonna have like normal situation with colors. So one with black, one with white will be perfect. Tom said he will have dinner and come back later. Okay. So we'll see. But at that point, there may be already the normal order of challenges. So it was, pretty risky decision. Of course, if you wanted to have a game, because who knows. So what's going on here? Let's just grab space. Play queen. Oops, queen to d2. Castles. And a5. That is strange. I mean, what's the point behind a5 move? So g4 is pretty logical. I'm just starting the attack. All right, now let's go h4. Bring the knight to c5. Well, it's so slow here. I mean, it's good when we both castle short. But here it's about the attack, right? And like it's just spending time on not so efficient things in the sense of attack, right? Because, oh, come on, knight b6, no. Cannot be good. I mean, I understand the idea of moving the knight to c4, but I can solve this problem easily. Just playing knight to g3, which is a good move because I bring my knight closer to the king. At the same time, I control c4 square, and I don't understand what the knight is doing there on b6. Okay, let's continue the attack. So we are pretty close to opening the h file. And by the way, after knight g3, my queen has the access to h2 square, so that I'll just attack along the h file with both the rook and the queen. Okay, so this is a bit distracting thing, so let's just take it. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. And now, what about just playing queen h2? What black is going to do? And I want to take on g6 and then h7 is here. There are also ideas like knight f5, gf5, gf5, opening the g file. But for now, I see the h file, which is not protected whatsoever. So why not to try this super straightforward thing? Maybe, bishop to h6 was better a bit. Yeah. Hard to say. I mean, this looks also pretty winning. I guess the chance for black was just to ignore like everything and try to do something on the queen side finally. Because yeah, h file is closed now, but we're gonna open the g1 right now. Should I play knight f5 right away here, or just queen d2 first? Now let's play queen d2, just attacking h6 and probably forcing king to h7, which means the king cannot that easily run away now through the center. And I guess knight f5 should be just good. Or again, we can prepare it a bit with rook to g1. So knight f5, okay. I thought knight f5, gf5, now rook g6. Now it's a bit harder probably to open everything quickly, I mean, but it's still winning for white, for sure. Bishop d7. Okay, now what? Bishop d3 looks good. Just doing everything gradually, not hurrying up. At some point f4. Yeah, why not? Bishop d3 is a good move. It helps with the coordination. And my god, I now understand what's going on. So I forgot we're playing 3 minutes, so I have only 40 seconds, so I have to play much faster now. Fortunately, position is not so hard to understand, so our play is pretty straightforward here. Just bring everything to the g file and just a breakthrough at some point. of some kind. I don't know, so let's bring... Okay, let's capture the pawn. Just let it be. I mean, we probably don't need it, but in case our attack doesn't quite work there, we'll have extra material. So now 2 pawns, I think. All right, just a3 to protect everything. And then queen g2. Is there something decisive already? Rook h6, knight h6, queen g6, king h8, bishop takes h6. What's that? Not quite sure, so... Okay, that should be easier to handle. But 14 seconds only, that's a shame. Okay. All right, so I was lucky at the end. Of course, at some point there was a risk that I will just lose it on time. Of course, my position was absolutely overwhelming. Here after bishop b5, by the way, I was already like about to play on the queen side. So if rook d8, let's say I wanted to put my bishop on c6, controlling a8, and then I wanted to play like b4, a4, a5, and just promote that pawn. Also absolutely valid plan, since black's pieces are completely stuck here on the king side. But it's strange that I didn't find anything here. So I thought, rook takes h6 will be a move. So if bishop h6, queen g8, it's clear. But then knight takes h6, and I was somehow not sure if I have enough resources to break through here. So I thought this thing, and bishop cannot move from g7 because of queen g8 checkmate. But what's next? For example, what if black just plays queen f8? Feels like black has enough defenders now. It's still a very good position for white. I'm probably winning, like bishop goes back and then h6 should be winning, of course. But I was somehow not so sure. Yeah, probably I was stupid. Really, just bishop back and then h6 and it's over. All right, anyway, thank you for the game. I think you made several mistakes in the opening when you played several slow moves instead of starting your attack. So here a5, I think, to start with this. I guess maybe you should have tried knight to h5 with the knight to f4 move, sacrificing the pawn, but then opening your bishop. It's one of the typical ideas here. If you play knight d7 and 10 and f5, I always have g4, so f5 becomes super risky. Opening the g file against your king. Another idea maybe just to play c6 at some point, just sacrifice d6, but again, trying to open up position somehow. Because, yeah, just after a5, g4 and knight d7 and h4, I think it's already quite bad for black. Should be just strategically lost, because as you can see, you're doing nothing here on the queen side, so you're not getting any closer to my king. So if you play a4, I just stop it with a3, but my attack on the king side is pretty simple, so there are no limits. Yeah, so I just play h5 and it's over. So the question, is Andrey from Germany? No, Andrey is from Ukraine. But yeah, I live in Germany. Been living in Germany for like 3 years now, even a bit more. One more game against somebody I've never played before. Let's have a look. So it feels like I've played against everyone at least once, right? Let's see. Yeah, at least once. So this means we can just get back to normal order of challenges, and then when Tom comes back from his dinner, we'll probably play that guy. All right, accept. Everything depends on how long it takes for Tom to have dinner, because maybe at that moment when he comes back, our show is either finished or he just gets his turn or something. We'll see. All right, a4. I think I played everything against Mikhail. Well, almost everything. So what I've never played against him is knight to c6. So let's play knight to c6. D5 now. And queen takes. Attacking d4. Come on. d4 is under pressure. What are you going to do? It's Henning, my friend. Knight f3. Okay, so the logical thing to do here is just to play bishop g4, pinning the knight, and kind of attacking d4 again because of it. Now I cannot take on f3 and then take on d4 with queen because of bishop c6 check and I lose my queen. What I can do though is just castle long, right? Yeah, let's try that. So it's some sort of, you know, Scandinavian type of position, and everything that is true for Scandinavian is true for this position as well. It's quite risky from a positional point of view for black to play like that. But we do have some tricks here. So where to go? That's the first question. To h5, that's a typical thing that almost everyone does. Or a5. Let's go to a5, although h5 is probably also playable. And now the question is, can I just take on f3 and then take on d4, winning a pawn? Because I'm not sure that this knight may be really dangerous when jumping somewhere. I mean, it definitely makes bishop d2 much more active when it goes to e4 or b5, but I don't see real danger here. Maybe I'm stupid, but feels like it is a pawn, which is just here, and we can take it. All right? Right. The worst move for white now is to put the knight on d5, because in that case, we just take on f3 with check and then take on d5. But if the knight doesn't have this d5 square, then why my position should be bad? I guess it's just fine. What about queen e5 now? Just castling, right? Yeah. I guess it's time to start the development on the king side. So knight f6 looks good. So let's do it. Just knight f6. The question, how do you play so well? Not sure if it is a question to me. But first of all, I'm international master, so I'm playing this. I play this game. I've been playing this game for a long time, like since I was 5 years old. All right, and I'm almost 30 now, so 25 years of practice, my friend. So it should give you something, right? And yeah, sometimes your opponent just doesn't play the best way, so that's, you just use it. That's it. Just like in this game, I guess Mick didn't play the best moves, so I already have pretty good position. So queen to d5 now. Oh, I haven't. No, I don't have a nice trick. I thought I can take on d2, and if queen d2, then knight f3, but it's stupid because knight controls d2. So queen d2, knight d2 just gives me a position with a queen down. So then we have to go away with a queen somewhere. I think f5 is a nice square because we also target c2 indirectly. d5 is just a normal square to occupy here. Let's just put it on f5. So our knight on d4 is great. Gorgeous piece. We have extra pawn now, which is also very pleasant to realize. And our only problem here is that we're still not developed, so it's time to actually solve that problem. Just bring the bishop somewhere to active position and we're good. Start the conversion of the material advantage. Tom is back. Okay, so the next game is against Tom, and please leave your challenge, okay, because it was somehow lost. Okay, let's just play this move. I mean, normally I don't like give up bishops for knights, but In this case, this knight on e4 is pretty good, so I was not against. And since we have like extra material, I think it's not bad in general to simplify the position a bit. So let's relocate our pieces. b2 is under attack, and I want to also occupy this d3 square, which was weakened by c3 move, so like this, let's say. Again, intending just to simplify the things gradually because I have extra pawn, right? Rook occupies probably a good position there. The only problem with that, if I play rook d8, rook takes, knight g5. Okay, but I don't have time for it. Sorry. Again, I forgot about the time completely. So now I have to play faster. I wanted to prevent knight g5 there, because it was quite annoying in case my rook goes away, because it attacks like both h7 and f7. So now we're ready to fight for some space. So f5, controlling e4, and bring the king here. Of course, I had to play like, yeah, that was stupid of me. I had to play e5 first, because now white has had a chance to play f4, stopping me from e5. That's because of the time trouble. That's because of the time trouble, unfortunately. Making stupid mistakes. Okay, bring the king to the center. Yeah, we control a lot here. Look at this position. I mean, I love it. So now I think it's time to relocate our pieces again. So we need our knight somewhere in the better position. Like d6 looks good. 30 seconds only. Wow, it's tricky. It's the first time I'm probably in a real danger against Mick, because I was talking a lot. That's my problem. But now it's solved, I suppose. It's a king and pawn ending with extra pawns, so it should be lost for white. Okay, let's just take that. Oh, that was probably a mistake, because now I don't have time to calculate who's faster with the promotion. That's a bit stupid. Maybe not a bit, maybe that was really stupid. So now let's do something like this. Yeah, grabbing space first of all. Oh, that is really a simplification. So king e1, but it's anyway lost, right? So king e1, king e4, I mean king e1 there, just this nice pattern, like stalemate, then c4 is forced. I take there, and I should be fast enough to promote first with a checkmate. Yeah, good. Oh, yeah, it was tricky. For sure, was just tricky. After knight c6, I love actually knight f3 move. So instead of playing d4 and actually giving black what he wants, just play knight f3 first. Because now d5, e5, queen d5, knight c3, your pawn is still on d2, so you're flexible with, you know, putting on d4 or d3. So you choose there. It's also not bad, I guess, but already here you have to be careful with all these tricks. Yeah, d4 is under pressure. I don't know, maybe black is already okay here. I have no idea what's going on in this position from a theoretic point of view. And if there is theory or something, there should be some sort of that. But it looks like black's pieces are placed in a very logical way, just attacking d4. Maybe c4 was possible for you. You know, it's better to look in a database what to do here. So, thank you very much. So Tom, where's your challenge? Let's have a look. Yeah, I see that, so I accept it. And then again, come back to normal order of challenges. All right, guys, I hope it's fine. One of my best games against Andrey, says Mick. Yeah, you were very close to win it on time. So you helped me twice, I think. First of all, when you gave me a chance to exchange knights in that ending. And then you had some sort of resource like G4. That was interesting. That could have been tricky. But no, probably it's still lost for white. So a bit earlier, I mean, in that ending, probably you could have played f4. Yeah, when I played f5, you played knight c4. Then the next move you played king f4. So instead of playing king f4, you should have played f4 with the pawn stopping me from playing e5. So this could have been interesting. So fighting for space, in other words. Oh, again, this London. London system. All right. Let's play it. So b6, bishop b7, kind of automatic stuff to do here. And then we're fighting for central squares somehow. Okay, knight to e5. I personally find the queen e2 followed by e4 plan the most annoying for black in this line, because everything else is pretty simple for black to play against, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong, because I've never seen this queen c2 move. There should be a reason for it. So we play c4, we force the bishop away from this good diagonal, but then what? We also make our bishop constantly bad, stupid, I would even say. So maybe rook c8 is better option. Like, we create a concrete threat of just taking on d4, I suppose. So cd4 is possible now. But then knight takes c6, right? That's the problem. So otherwise we just win on the spot. But there is knight c6, and we don't have anything in between. So cd4, knight c6, we have to take on c6, and then ed4, and white is more or less fine. Okay. Would have been too much, right, to try to win this position already. Okay, so what to do instead? Queen c7 looks good. Looks just normal. So let's put the queen there. Do you think London system is better versus knight f6 or versus d5, or it doesn't matter? Well, after knight f6, black still has a chance to play something different. I mean, not the position we have on the board right now. So there is a chance to play some like g6, bishop g7, d6, this sort of stuff. But I have no idea. I mean, it should lead to more or less the same stuff. Sometimes it's just a transposition. Okay, now cd4, ed4. Maybe interesting. So cd4, ed4, we have knight b4 trick, and if cb4, then queen just goes away. Yeah, this is something that looks promising. So let's try it. Cobra is here. Very nice. Knight b4, right? cb4, we just go away with the queen, and we kind of win some material. Yeah, let's try that. I hope I don't blunder, but it doesn't feel like that, right? Obviously, queen can just go to b1, and that will be nice. So white will be in a very strange position. Maybe we will have some like queen sacrifice on c3 at some point. I don't know. We'll see. Why not e5? e5 was controlled enough, I guess. 3 times, right? So cb4, just queen d7. Here we are. That's why, Olaf, I wanted to win the queen. Simple. And in this case, I also win some material, I think. Unless white just steps back with the bishop, but then I have just an overwhelming position. In this case, what? Just b5, right? Just b5 is good enough. Oh, rook c4, rook c8 was also an option. Didn't see that. Because b5 is just enough, all right? In that case, I would have like, what? Queen and the minor piece against the rooks. In this case, I simply have extra minor piece. I mean, I don't know what is better. Both options are pretty winning, right? Let's just simplify everything now. Extra material. So the easiest strategy. Exchange as many pieces as possible. Making opponent's chances to counterattack pretty sad. All right, c3 takes with the rook. Now, in this case, I'm going to checkmate my opponent, I think. I have all the resources to do that. B file is open. I simply have more pieces on the board, right? So my attack should be successful. All right, so what do we want from this position? I want my knight on c3, but my rook is there, so I can just move my rook away and then knight c3. Something like rook a3 looks pretty good. Let's do it. Bishop on b4 is protected, so I can't afford it. And rook already attacks a2, so knight c3 then captures a2, and so on. Queen can join this from a4. Let's say, looks good. What happened? Rook to g1. I think it's too late, my friend, for counterattack, but a nice try anyway. Okay. No calculations, just take the queen if there is a queen. As my coach said many years ago, so if there is a choice between like a checkmate in 3 and win a queen, just take the queen, because maybe there is no checkmate in 3 actually. And yes, I agree. All right, so what went wrong? I think queen c2 is strange. It's probably not losing or something and doesn't give black a decisive advantage, but queen doesn't belong to this square, so you want to keep your bishop on this diagonal, and for that you want to put your queen somewhere on e2 or maybe on f3 or something like that. So logical continuation here is just f4 followed by queen f3, and then bishop goes away from g3 and you play g4, g5, typical stuff for this system. Yeah, I thought you would play something like that. Another direction which is pretty popular nowadays is just to play queen e2 and after bishop b7 to play e4. This is probably the most annoying for black. In this case, black has to play bishop e7, and then after e5, knight to h5. There's some like knight to g5 move, bishop takes g5, queen takes h5, g6, queen goes back to e2. You sacrifice a pawn, but you play some like h4, h5, so pay attention to that line as well. Okay, going further with normal order of challenges, and here comes Olaf. Okay, so Olaf won a game against me 1 week ago, right? So I must do everything to have a sweet revenge. Let's go. So still this line. All right. Still this line. I'm still not convinced, sorry. By the way, I had not so bad position last time. I just, just blundered something. I don't remember. Or I played with black pieces last time. I don't remember, because we play every week. Like, it's never-ending story, so I have no idea. Little trick. Just asking, are you going to take my bishop on g3 or what? Actually. So there is a preparation of e5 as far as I understand. Should we just put our knight on e5 right now? Looks not so bad. No, looks not so ugly. So let's do it. Shake queen e2. Very similar to previous game, by the way, but now I'm playing with white pieces, and there is no pawn on c5 and no pawn on e3, which I think makes white's position a bit better than in the previous game. So bishop h7 looks like winning immediately, right? No calculations, because it's a famous pattern, like king h7, queen h5, queen f7, then e8 is hanging, so... yeah. Let me check what happened. Now it still says that we have no dropped frames, but I was like offline for several seconds, I guess. Can you still hear me? Just give me a hint in chat, because I'm not sure that everything is still okay from a technical point of view. Stream okay, so audio out of sync, yes. That's the result of this. That's the result of this being offline for several seconds. Every time when there is a drop in connection, it ends up with this sync problems. Shit, guys, I'm sorry for that, but it was not my fault. It's just my connection to the internet. Well, it's pretty okay, but sometimes there are this, you know, unforeseen problems that may affect and just spoil everything. Yeah. No worries. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for understanding. I hope it's still more or less fine. I mean, so I suppose it's like probably 1 second or maybe 2 seconds delay, right? But yeah. Okay, so what do we have here? We have just extra exchange and 2 pawns, right? So it's absolutely winning position. Our task is just to win it. So let's do it. Let's just do it. Yes, I do have a kid, and even two boys. And then one of them is screaming, yeah, in the background. You're right. So not so convincing technique here, I guess. I could have played it much better. But we should still be able to win this. So let's just play b3. Because if knight takes c5 and rook e1 takes c6. Okay, so still an exchange in the pawn. But I can still play this, right? Rook d1. Knight takes e5 and rook to e1, attacking the knight. Knight goes away, I take on e6. I hope it works. Yeah. So there is no way black can protect the knight. There are no pieces being able to do that. Knight has to go away somewhere, and then we take the pawn on e6. Yeah. By the way, in that position where I captured on h7, I'm curious if knight takes f7 was better. Not sure. I mean, it's hard to say. Bishop h7 is pretty much, yeah, winning, actually. So, okay, there is a comment. I first thought the baby cry was coming from my house, which worried me because I don't have kids. Yeah. Okay. Let's just simplify the things again. Let's just play c4. He's really not very satisfied with something. Don't know what's going on. cd5. Rook d5. Again, 2 pawns, right? And the knight is pretty poor. Quite passive. So our task is just not to blunder something. And we're gonna win this position. Step by step. Let's play this move. I don't see anything wrong with this. We're just fighting for space, I mean. Making opponent's pieces quite passive. So one more step towards the same direction. So knight has no moves at all at the moment. That's pretty good. Let's get closer. So the knight is switched off. That's pretty good. What's next? I think we can just attack the knight, right? After king h5. There is no way black can protect the knight, so simple attack traps it and wins it. Well, surprisingly in this game, my technique was not so bad. Every step, every move was pretty logical. And here is the result. We're the rook up now. Okay, this is not so hard to win, I think. So let's limit the key now. Okay, let's forget about that bullshit. And simply win the game. Anyway, limiting the keyness. For some reason, you know, an interesting action to me. So, I mean, I pinned the rook to the h file. So, if rook goes away, then rook h4 and so on. All right. So basically the game was decided after bishop takes h7, and exactly at that moment my internet connection actually dropped for several seconds, and yeah, now we have a problem. So king h7 is probably forced here. I don't see anything better than that, so otherwise black is just down the material and no chances anyway. Yeah, all right, typical thing. After bishop h7, it's over. So knight d7 was a mistake. But if you don't do that, what to do? I mean, even b6 is complicated now because of knight c6 and bishop b5. So this position is not very comfortable for black, to be honest. And white can do whatever he wants. f4, let's say, bishop goes away, g4, g5. So typical attack. So I don't understand why didn't you play bishop g4 and play d6. I think bishop g4 gave you good positions against me in all our previous games. So let's play the next game against Rui. All right. Rui 1561. Not the rating, but the nickname. The rating is 2600s. All right, so let's focus. It's gonna be a hard game. Are we going to play Rui Lopez? Of course. So castle is, oh, queen e2. All right. So I think bishop e7 is still possible. And now typical story. So b5 first, then d6. With the idea of bishop g4 to fight for the center that way. it's possible to play bishop g4 here. Another idea is just to start with knight a5 and c5. So controlling important squares. Bring the queen to c7, let's say. And yeah, castling or not castling, or just knight to c6. Knight to c6 looks good. I mean, I control d4, I prevent d4, I think. So knight d5 is not necessarily that dangerous. So we can just castle here, I suppose. h3. Okay, rook b8. And g4. All right, so pretty natural thing. Imagine my pawn on h6. In that case, g5 would be already like open in the file. So I'm really happy that I don't have the pawn on h6 here. So white's attack may be still very annoying, but it's not necessarily that fast. I mean, I still have some resources, some plans. Should I play knight e8, knight e6, knight f4, this sort of stuff? Or should I focus on something connected with the d5? I think that should be something logical here. So bishop e6, knight f5, something like that, okay? So developing the piece at least. Not so stupid, I guess. So we had something similar with Shelling Ford several episodes ago, but my pawn was an h6, and it was absolutely different story then. So let's go d5, I guess. That's what we should do if there is an attack against us on the side, so we have to do something in the center, I suppose. So d takes c4, d takes c4, bishop c4 doesn't really give us anything. Do we have some tactics here? I don't think so. Maybe just c4 right now. It's pretty risky. Pretty risky to play like that. This may be what we want, actually. Or we just start with this move and see what our opponent wants to do. Also an option. So. Protecting the bishop, so our knight is no longer pinned on f6. It may go somewhere to d7, let's say, to simplify the things a bit. Knight to h4. Okay, so now bishop on g5 is not protected, but it probably doesn't give us anything additional to what we already have here. So what about c4 after all? Maybe interesting. So let's try it. I mean, I don't have time to calculate all the lines there, of course, but it looks logical, right? So we try to open the things in the center. That's why we do all this stuff, because we want to have counterplay in the center. In this case, I just take, right? Let it be like this. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe we're fine here. I don't know. What if we just play queen d6 now? Again, unpinning our knight and intending to take on d3 and then on e4. This is logical, yeah. But maybe risky for white anyway. So b4 now. Now our rook on b8 is finally doing something sensible, right? So let's go there. Yeah, I like my position now, to be honest. If I Don't blunder something simple. I think our pawns are pretty impressive there. So, okay, I'll take the queen. So here I wanted to take that pawn first. That was the plan. Now b2 is under pressure, and what's really important, d4 is no longer controlled, so I want to jump with the knight there. I may want to jump there. I mean, okay, now I just wanted to play this positional move. Maybe it's a mistake, I don't know, but now position looks pretty cool for black. So white's king is in danger all of a sudden. Should we play this move, rook to c8, or just queen d6, super straightforward? I'm afraid that not all of our pieces are in the game, so let's bring as many resources as we can. There should be some sort of checkmate soon. There is no checkmate. I think it's time to give up chess because I don't understand anything. But it's going to be very tough for... Should be very tough for white to survive it. So again, what about just something straightforward? I don't know. Queen to e7. Yeah, queen to e7 looks pretty good. Intending queen a3, let's say. Like this. And then rook b2. Yeah, we're getting there. And queen to c3, that is what my opponent blundered. So queen is pinned. So now we win the game instantly. All right. Interesting game, isn't it? I mean, for a long time it looked like completely closed, but then after d5, c4, I think castling was wrong decision. So queen c7 was the first. What do you mean? Olaf asks, queen c7 was the first. What was the first? So yeah, knight f5 is probably not the best move here. I think that queen f3 looked better. Oh, in your game, queen to c7. So what do you mean was the first? All right, queen f3 here, and then, yeah, the knight is pinned, and now there is some pressure here. I'm not sure that I have anything after this exchanges, because now, yeah, position is not bad for black here, I guess. But it's not very pleasant anyway. So probably taking on d3 is premature, so something like d4 should be played. But that position is, you know, not so clear. So you can damage my pawn structure at any moment. You can also play knight f5 and take with the queen, and so on. So I don't like knight f5 move, because after that my play is pretty simple. But maybe your castling was really dangerous idea. So probably something like rook to g1 was interesting here, in which case I wanted just to play king h8, and if necessary to bring the rook to g8. Yeah, actually it's not so simple to find a safe place for king now. So I definitely have some play with b4, d4 at any moment. So yeah, anyway, nice game, interesting one. Mike Goering is the next. Accept the game. Playing with white pieces again, so e4. Let's go there. And Ruy Lopez, right? Yeah. An attempt to build a Berlin Wall. No way, just d3. No, bishop c6 and queen e2, so it's like an exchanged variation, but with queens on the board. Should be nothing special, obviously, but I mean, I find it a bit more interesting to play compared to main lines of Berlin, because there you have to learn like a ton just to, you know, have a hope to get a slight advantage, not the slight advantage itself. All right. And I'm pretty lazy, so I don't like memorizing lines and so on. So I want to play something I understand. That's why I play this. So damage pawn structure, potentially like pawn majority on the other side of the board. Pretty simple to understand, right? And black has a compensation in the form of pair of bishops, and if black voluntarily exchanges one of the bishops, I think white is better. Alrighty. Because of the pawn structure, so white has a better pawn structure. Queen g3 attacks both g7 and e5. Should we just play that or simply cast it? I mean, I don't want to calculate that. Because if we take on g7, there's rook g8. Black will definitely have some counterplay there. And castle long anyway, so I guess we just castle and gradually prepare f4. It's probably the most annoying thing that can happen to black in this pawn structures. Do you remember the game Capablanca against Janowski? So that endgame where f4 was played, and then there were just 4 rooks on the board, and black didn't have active counterplay whatsoever. That's what we're trying to do here, to build something similar. All right, but here we have another target. Let's use it. Black commits some weakening on the queen side as well. Why not to try to use that? So c5 square, I mean. Looks good for our minor pieces, so we can bring some of them there, at least closer to that square at some point. And it's sort of prophylaxis against black's active pawn moves on the queen side. So now it's pretty hard for black to move a pawn without weakening something additional. Like imagine a5, alright, so the pawn on a5 will be always under pressure. If pawn c5, then weakens b5. If b takes a4, rook a4, and the pawn structure is just a mass there. So yeah, let's see what black will invent here. Okay, just a6. Okay. Should we play queen g3? No, queen g3, knight h5, and then g6, and we don't have a chance to play f4. So I think bishop e3 is still good. Kind of, you know, trying to say that, all right, maybe at some point I will land on c5. And if you want to protect that square, you have to play knight d7. But in that case, I just play queen g3, and there is no knight h5 anymore. So I can focus on playing f4. And that's what I want. So looks pretty pleasant to play this. With white is quite simple, so you just, you know, prepare everything like carefully and at some point play f4. And you have at least more space. So now it's a good question what to do, just to play f5 and play for space, or take on e5 and then kind of attack that weakened pawn on e5, or potentially weakened. Or we can just start with rook f2, then maybe rook to f1, and then see what to do. Another plan may be just to play rook a2 and rook to a1 and create some threats along the a file. Well, I'm such a freak, you know, I will try that. It looks terrible, I mean, at first glance, but I don't care. I mean, let's try that. Let's try to get to black's camp from the other side. So we created some pressure on the king side, and now we just get to the queen side, according to the principle of two weaknesses. So now let's capture. And we have the A file now, which is very good. So we can exert some additional pressure on pawn c6, which was weakened after black played b5. Yeah, good position, what to say. Knight to b8. So now we can basically bring the piece to c5. Do we need that? The question is, do we have something because of that? So bishop to c5, let's say. No, it's probably just what our opponent wants, more or less. Let's just play rook a8 for now. Knight c5 was a threat after that move, but black managed to parry that. Should we do something specific here, or just take on f8 and bring the rook to a8? Hard question. Now let's try that. No. It's kind of simple for our opponent. Let's start with this move. Let's see how black recaptures first. Okay, with a pawn, so now we can do this. And we can probably just come back to the F file now. Or just play rook a8. Yeah, looks good. So F file is open now, and black has a problem, several problems. So after this move, I wanted just to take, play bishop c5, and e5 should drop, right? Because black's queen is overloaded. e5 and bishop on f8 are both hanging, are both under attack. So we'll win a pawn finally. Tangible asset. c7 is also under attack. And after this move, we just checkmate black with queen e8. Yeah. All right. So bishop g4 followed by bishop f3. That's a positional mistake, strategic mistake. So your compensation for bad pawn structure is pair of bishops. So you should try to avoid giving up your bishop without, you know, a big reason. So here I didn't see a reason to do that because you had several options of protecting e5, queen e7, knight e7, or bishop d6. All three are most popular moves in this position, I think. Yeah. So Olaf says test on chat. You're testing the audience or you're testing me, because I'm not sure if I'm still online. It feels like I am. Yeah, feels like I'm still live. So let's get further. So let's play against Meg Basketball. Accept. Test the chat. Yeah, I got it. Feels pretty dead, right? No one is commenting. Everyone is, you know, just doing some random stuff. So rule up is again. What will we play this time? Okay, let's try the exchanged variation. Again, continuing the stuff within this typical pawn structure. Just want to see how my opponent handles this. Olaf test says Cobra. Yeah, nice. Good. So d4. And then takes with the queen. Silent Saturday afternoon chess chat. Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, so in this case, we can create a weakness on e5 already. Maybe it was premature action, but should be fine. The only problem now is with this bishop g4 idea. Bishop can simply step back to h5 there. Yeah, so probably was premature for me to play that. All right, anyway. Let's continue the development. Why queen d3? Because after bishop g4, I want my knight to be free. I don't want this knight to be pinned. Football Bundesliga. All right. Everything is clear now. Everything is clear now. You love football more than my shows. I should probably stop broadcasting because you have just broken my heart. 92. Queen e8. All right, so black's position is, by the way, quite good. So white doesn't have anything, absolutely. Let's try to attack at least something in black's camp. So a bishop on d6 is under pressure as well as the pawn on e5. I'm not sure if black can sacrifice something of it, but let's see. I mean, queen g6 definitely prevents me from taking on e5 twice, because then my bishop on g5 is hanging, but I can probably take on d6 if I'm not mistaken. Takes d6, cd6, queen d6. What's next? Knight takes c4, queen takes g6. I'm pretty okay with that pawn structure. But there is something more dangerous. If I take on d6 twice, there's bishop g4. And do I have a chance to escape? In that case, I'm not sure. Yeah, feels pretty bad now for white. Okay, let's just take that knight. I mean, I know it's just a wrong decision, for sure. Now black has no problems whatsoever, only white has problems. So the question, yeah. Question about sync problems, picture and sound. Yeah, there are problems for sure. So knight takes d6, cd6, rook d1, bishop g4, queen takes d6, bishop f3 takes on f6. Well, it will be interesting ending, I suppose. So let's try that. Yeah, taking on e5, yeah, was really stupid. It was too early to do that. I gave my opponent's knight this f6 square early, so there were no problems with the development whatsoever. That's why it was bad to take on e5 at so early stage. I should have, you know, gave my opponent freedom to develop the knight to e7 and then maybe taking on e5, but in that case knight also goes to g6. Yeah, it's a hard thing to tell. I mean, what was better? So now position is being simplified as far as I understand, and should be just fine for black. Aha, this way. I think it doesn't play serious role. We can probably give this intermediate check just to force opponent's king to the corner, because we're going to exchange queens very soon, and in the endgame stage it probably matters if the king is away from the center. That's why I gave this check first and then exchange queens. I think it's logical, right? And now we have some additional ideas based on the weekend back rank. So I think the capture on f3 was wrong. I would have captured on d6 simply to avoid this intermediate check, honestly. There's probably nothing wrong, but Still, it gives me some additional things, additional options. Like how to protect e5 now. h5 was probably not necessary. So simple, modest h6 was just good enough. Because now h5 will be also heading at some point. Yeah, my son is definitely not satisfied with the quality of my chess. You can hear him crying. So we're pawn up. Question is, can we somehow convert this advantage? His opponent's pieces occupy very, very nice positions. Can basically simplify the things a bit, I guess. Check. Now this move. And now we win a pawn. Win a pawn back. We have just lost it on f5, and now we win it back. All right, still very hard to tell if it is an easily winning position for white. Well, rook endings are never easy, of course. Yeah, black is pretty active here, so I don't know. There may be serious problems, but I hope that I can use this pawn on h3. There were different targets. After rook b6, let's say, I could have attacked them, but I think this is also a way to play. h3 is under pressure, which should be annoying for black. And now a6 drops as well. But we have to be very careful with capturing it. Well, after this move, I think we are free to do that, because there is simply no way black can use the g file. Oh, I forgot about that sort of counterplay. I'm so stupid, sorry. Sorry for being stupid. I should have used the third rank to actually relocate my rook. That's 100%. Now it's harder for me to play this position for sure. But we have some ideas. We have some ideas anyway. So, I mean, we're definitely safe here. So I don't see how black is going to promote his pawn. Okay, let's just take there. Oh, another stupid mistake. Sorry. Sorry for that. And now it's no longer winning position. Yeah. Oh my god. I completely misplayed the final part of the game, but well, we're pretty much in time trouble, but it's a lame excuse, absolutely, for this numerous blunders. Okay, so somewhere here I think black made a mistake, so h5, I'm not sure it was needed. Something like rook f4 came to my mind. I was not sure that I have anything here after this move. Probably just nothing, right? So like rook e2, I have to protect the pawn, but then rook g4 check. Sorry, rook h4. Not rook h4. Rook g4 check. And then you just counterattack something in my camp. If I go to the f file, you attack h2. If I go to the h file here, you just attack f2. So I have no idea what white is going to achieve here. Everything looks just all right. So at some point you just make this h6 move, just not to, put your pawn in a vulnerable position, and you're fine. You should be fine, at least. Okay, so I guess one more game for today. Super Rico, accept the challenge. And white pieces again. So a bit better than last week, I suppose, because I had more or less I had more white games, of course, than black games, but I still had some black games, right? last week I had all the games with white pieces, which is not fair, I suppose. As well as having all the games with black pieces. So I have no clue what to do versus exchange Lopez. Just play queen f6 when pawn on e5 is hanging. Try to keep queens on the board. Cobra asks, Andrey, is it the last game? Well, my opponent is not responding, so I'll board. And we'll have a look at other challengers. Yeah, this is gonna be the last game for sure. Of course, if my opponent responds. And here we have this. Not very fair thing, so I boarded the game because my opponent didn't respond. Now I have black pieces because of it, and I wanted to play with white. Alright, never mind. So, Nimto Indian or Queen's Indian, something like that, right? It's gonna happen now. Yeah, Nimto. Bishop goes to b4. Irish chessman. Let's see. g3. Okay, let me remember. When was the last time I've played something like that? Well, many months ago, I guess. So it's pretty similar to Catalan, I guess, but it's anyway different. Yeah, let's grab a pawn. Alright, so if my opponent knows the theory here, I'm in trouble because I don't remember it. But what black is usually doing here is pretty logical. So I capture the pawn. Now I bring the knight to b6 square to protect it. So I'm actually fighting for this extra pawn. I don't want white to regain it easily. So let's put the knight on b6. I'm curious if we can take pawn on d4 now, or it's too greedy. So we take on d4, takes d4, queen d4. What's wrong with our position? So our pieces are not developed, so we are 2 pawns up, but who knows? Knight b5, queen d2, still possible there. I mean, we should be all right, but I don't want to risk it. So knight g5 may be a threat, right? Let's just play h6. Preventing bishop g5, knight g5, all this stuff. And see how white respond. So in this pawn structure, it will be good for us to play e5 at some point, but definitely not in the nearest future. Right now, it's not so simple. So let's just continue development. I mean, this is not really a development. This bishop on d7 is pretty ugly, but we have an extra pawn, so we can live with this, I guess. We're fine. So queen e7, let's see. Actually trying to play e5 at some point. And here's a question. We can just step back to a5. It's nothing wrong with that. We can simply take on c3, but then we will be in a strange situation. So, but we cannot probably go bishop d6 because of e5, right? Will be too much. Yeah, I mean, I want to keep my bishop on the board for some time. It's maybe a mistake because of d5. Oh gosh, queen e7 was so stupid. Maybe bishop d7 was already a stupid action. Yeah. Most likely. Not so pleasant stuff happening on the board now. Let's just step back to a5. I know it's ugly, but b4, c takes b3, so. We've got not so much space here, so we have to be very careful. So bishop should be on e8, just, yeah, another ugly square, but up and pawn exchange a lot. Yeah, that's true, but It's not the case because I just exchanged one pair of minor pieces and that's it. And my bishop is pretty valuable here compared to that knight, I suppose. I mean, I'm not quite sure, but... Okay, now I think we get some sort of activity, potentially. But we also have only 35 seconds on the clock, so... will be pretty hard in any case. Alright. So now we have some maneuvers. So we can bring the knight to c5 and then to b3 or d3. Right, so let's do it. Let's go there. Like this. Knight to b5 is just dropping the knight. So that's why I had that bishop on the 8, guys. That's why. Right, so intermediate move here. I think I'm losing something here, right? So I take on f3, bishop takes on c7. Should I take... oh, shit. I have only 17 seconds. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I didn't actually win anything here. Well, some pawns, but... yeah. God. Eight seconds only. Crap. And like... and what happened? I won the game on time. That's fantastic. I mean, how can this be? I was like 10 seconds less. All right, never mind. Interesting finish at some point. Just turned into, you know, some sort of street fight. Yeah, because of the time trouble. Nevertheless, so I believe White had a good position at some point. So you have to actually analyze it additionally to figure it out what was the best way to squeeze me completely. Okay, thank you guys for the show. Sorry for technical problems again. So some things are not, you know, possible to control. So yeah, I hope you still understood me and learned something out of my games. And yeah, benefited some way. So wish you a great weekend and hope to see you next week. Bye bye.